Do you remember Ultra Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta? Do you remember Beast Gohan 2? I'm sure you guys do remember that guy. He's back right now. And with it being his first time returning since his release in the 2024 festival, I thought it would be a good time to talk about the Celebration Ultras that we got last year. These two characters here, G4 and Beast Gohan, very menacing on release, some might say underwhelming, and for different reasons, but I wanted to go through their releases, what they were successful in, what they failed in, and generally how it was for these characters so that we can look in the future and maybe set our expectations correct. I love both of these units, by the way. They're both spectacular and I own both of them actually. I got lucky. But let me know in the comment section which one of these that you like most. Beast Gohan or Ultra Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta? Which side are you on? Let's get into this. Let's start with Ultra Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta because he released in the 6th anniversary prior to the festival, of course. This is a purple unit, melee type, and he is built to do insane damage, but he did not have the greatest defenses, still doesn't. The whole intention behind his kit is to do major damage outputting, but to be protected from his counter, which is based on his all dodging gauge. The only thing it can't counter is a rising rush, and that's like the ultimate thing in the game. It doesn't take much to fill up his gauge as well, and he can output his gauge 3 times. He's a super fast paced unit where you don't have to worry about getting hit because he will protect himself. In other cases, you'd be focusing on your cover changes, but with Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, it's all about pushing forward with no risk in your sight. Even if you do make a mistake, he's got you covered, and that's what's beautiful about him. He also has some other nice gimmicks that make him overwhelming. His explosive green card, which allows him to get easy combo starts. His blue card, which gives him his vanish back based on the cards destroyed. His ultimate art, which has 2 good features. So the first one is that it nullifies blast art, so it goes through any blast arts that'll come his way, so his counter won't activate if his ultimate is pressed. But in addition to that, we know the art action, it's beautiful. You have to tap and then you can get a 1000 times Big Bang Kamehameha, which has never been seen before in any other Dragon Ball game. If I also just talk about the situation at the time, he's the part 3 unit of the 6th anniversary, so the units that we had surrounding him are Fusing Super Vegito, Fusing Gogeta Blue, God Goku. He was easily one of the worst, if not the worst anniversary unit we got that year, and Ultimate Gohan. If we take one release after, there's also Ultra Omega Shenron. Some powerful units around him, but it was still undisputed that he was the #1 unit at the time of his release. Offensively, defensively, he did everything you needed him to do, and it was really a case of if you didn't have Ultra Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, you really couldn't play. Now if we talk about Ultra Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta and how his time was during his release, like I already said, he was a top 1 dog. There wasn't really anybody that could stop him, and even if you could do more damage than him, really and truly he's gonna counter you. I'd say at the max, Fusing Super Vegito was the best choice you could have against him because the rising rush is gonna hit him no matter what, and it's guaranteed to go through, especially with the idea that Ultra Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta's defenses aren't great in the first place. At that time, Fusing Gogeta Blue, even though he was found to be not great because his flawed strike assault, it requires too much to get it running, he was easily also one of the best options to counter Ultra Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta. If you did get that strike assault going, G4 would take a lot of damage. He does also heal, but at the end of the day, that type advantage is there, so you're gonna have to deal with that. But in this case, because the strike assault ignores the counter, you can't deal with that. So unless you had another unit alive, it's tough. But I will say on last stand, G4 is gonna be type neutral anyways, which doesn't exactly help Gogeta Blue's case. So in his prime for his release, he didn't really struggle that much. He was completely fine to run free, and like I said earlier, if you didn't have Ultra Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, you were basically doomed. Moving forward into the Omega Shenron release, I wouldn't say it was Omega Shenron that pressed him, but Omega Shenron being green isn't the best thing, let's be honest. But we also have to put in that Omega Shenron, he gets type neutral, so he's pretty much fine on that end. But there's 2 things that would be big to stop G4 slowly, or at least slow him down. 1, Omega Shenron has indestructible, which means that you have to take him out completely and then get another run in a second priority to really defeat him. You can't get him out with that big ultimate that G4 would do. You'd have to hit the ultimate and then still get another priority to deal with him. But Rage Shenron on the side, emitting Paralyze, being yellow, type advantage against G4 made it so that you had a defensive wall, and these 2 units, both being regen, one being a powerful opponent, people merged them alongside with the powerful opponent from Majin Buu Saga, Evil Majin Buu. There was also the Kid Buu Zenkai. So powerful opponent slash regen slash Majin Buu Saga became a very popular team in slowing down G4's amazing output. And then if we move even further beyond, I'm sure you guys got the reference, we get to the Sagas from the Movies campaign where things really go downhill for G4 G4, especially after that. The release of Turles really put a stop in this guy. It would take G4 a lot more work to get through any units. He's no longer his prime state that he was in the anniversary. Turles having comeback, and not just no regular comeback. We saw that Golden Frieza has the comeback where he damages you, but with Turles, he puts you in a position where you have to switch. G4 has his counter, but if he doesn't have his counter prepped, it could be a situation where he could get one-shotted, and by this time, he's moving out of the boost, if not already off. We also have Triku, who's in addition to Turles, they're both from the same movie, whose kit is specifically built to counter G4 in every regard. I'm not even going to go into details, but essentially, if G4 moves a muscle, Triku has the exact mechanic to make sure G4 can't work. I wouldn't exactly call Triku an amazing unit, but what he specializes in is stopping the best unit in the game, and if you can do that effectively, you will have insane value. I'm not going to go through all the list of counters, but after this one, it was pretty much done, and everything after that is overkill. You guys know Ultra Margin Vegeta, making the infamous yellow blue team with Triku, Ultra Margin Vegeta, and Turles. Two sets of survivability and a very tanky yellow, that being Triku, just shut down the whole G4 propaganda. Ultra Margin Vegeta copying G4's kit, not having a complete counter, but the same type of counter but only specifically tailored to blast, made him so insane. He also has the explosive green, endurance in addition, and a lock-in ultimate which really seals the deal. You could hit one strike cards against G4, and then if Ultra Margin Vegeta lands that ultimate, it's completely over, and that was pretty much the end of G4's parade. People like to bring him back because at the end of the day, he's a popular unit. It's Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta. In the situation that we got a few reds, people tried to bring him out as well, but he's no longer that 6th anniversary unit that we knew him to be. Let's talk about Ultra Beast Gohan and his release. Dropping at the end of the 2024 festival. People didn't believe he would drop, and I'm gonna tell you right now, there's somebody in the comments saying,
"What is Zach talking about? Everybody knew Beast Gohan was gonna drop."
You just wasn't there, I'm not gonna lie. If not that, you have a very nearsighted view of what people were expecting prior to the fact. Anyways, this is a yellow unit here, and there's two things that make him super special. One, he has Gold Frieza's Rising Rush counter, but not just that, he outputs damage if he counters you, and he can also counter ultimate artists that are forward moving, so not no long range ones like Super Saiyan Goku minis. The second thing that's special about this guy is that he has a special beam cannon, which is a button that you press similar to the synchro mechanic, so it appears at the right of your health bar. It takes a bit of time to activate, similar to Hit's time skip, but once it does activate, you're good to go. If the enemy does a vanish step, or if they're long range and presses an arts card, you've pretty much guaranteed that special beam cannon, and it's enough to take out a full bar of health, especially in that first week of release. That first prime Beast Gohan was a monster. He has a defensive break at half health, so your combo is going to be broken, which allows him to basically reset, and he can heal quite a bit. I wouldn't say his team situation was the strongest, but being the most OP unit at that time, you could put him on any team and he's good to go. Hybrid Saiyans had good stock, and people started bringing back Ultra Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, which was enough to make Beast Gohan even better. The festival was already stacked, and we had units from prior to the festival also creeping in. So the festival units that were banging, Super Saiyan Goku Mini was very good being red and having a lock-in blue card. We had Vegeta Blue who was ignoring counters. At this point, probably the biggest, or if not one of the biggest, Super Saiyan 2 to Super Saiyan 3 Goku. He had the infinite combo potential, which was really annoying to deal with. You run him with Vegeta Blue and Ultra Margin Vegeta, and my next mention, Ultra Margin Vegeta, very oppressive even to this point. But unfortunately for Beast Gohan, on his release, people wouldn't claim that he's the undisputed #1. There was two sides. Some people would say he's definitely #1. Some people are going Ultra Margin Vegeta because he's simply too reliable with his mechanics. Beast Gohan was extremely good, but nothing suffocating like we'd expect from Celebration Ultras, to the point where the previous Ultra outside of the Celebration was in competition with him 2 months later. And that speaks volumes for how people perceived Beast Gohan, even though there is a percentage of people who definitely felt Beast Gohan is better. Now, if we talk about the timeline from Beast Gohan's release, I know there hasn't been a lot of time since then, but there's been enough time for his banner to return, and we're right before the anniversary, the 7th at that. If we're being completely honest, Beast Gohan hasn't had much trouble when moving forward. He's actually had a lot more help, if anything. We've had good Hybrid Saiyans that released. Trunks and Gohan, very good offensively. They have two elements, blue and purple. Post succession, they're just blue, but that means Senko gonna hit. We got Red Trunks, Super Trunks during the Cell Saga campaign on the Super Saiyan Goku instant transmission banner, very valuable with his endurance and combo breaking. But you could also argue that there was a lot of reds to counter Beast Gohan as well. So we've had Merge Zamasu, who people heavily underrated, but is very good for stopping combos, could have been better for sure, but can also do offensive damage, and he heals a bunch because his gauge is infinitely going. And we also have the big elephant in the room, Ultra Perfect Cell, who is just amazing offensively. On Future is really hard to beat, but I wouldn't say that he specifically got counted out the way. It's more so just replaced, as in the period we're in right now, Dragon Ball Daima has completely taken over, and this team here is so concrete that it's not that other teams are bad, but this team is just so good that there's no point in using other teams. Super Saiyan 4 Goku, Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta, Majin Buu and Ku, these destructive brothers. We got Super Saiyan Goku Mini, who's proving to have way more life, plus his return on one of the banners, and even the Green Zenkai Goku Mini, fastest Zenkai ever, and he's so insane, easily catching up to the meta standard. Beast Gohan is definitely usable and is very good, but the circumstances show that you don't need him right now. But fortunately for him, he's not exactly counted out the way, so once this Diamond team gets out the way, I'm sure there will be room for Beast Gohan to return very easily in a way where he doesn't need circumstances to help him out. Now I'm gonna have a little back and forth between both of these guys, and it's gonna be very short, but let's talk about both of them back to back. G4 and Beast Gohan, both very visually appealing. Some people felt like Beast Gohan's art is underwhelming, but to me it's very good on the eyes. I love the way the animation is, and the art style is very fitting for what it is. G4 is just G4. It's amazing. If I had to go one over the other, I'm taking G4, but I think they're both as good as each other, really and truly. If we address their oppressive nature on release, it's definitely G4 over Beast Gohan, and it's not even close. Beast Gohan was released as more of a balanced unit to correct the issues that we already had going on. With his special beam cannon, he can break through any type of endurance, which is very nice because it isn't an arts card for the buffs to be cancelled. But that was about it. Besides from his defensive break at half health, he's not especially great on the defensive end. Yes, he does have his counter, but off the boost that doesn't allow him to survive. You can break him down just by using arts cards, and that would be enough. But with G4, even if he had some of the worst defenses in the game, which he doesn't, but his defenses aren't great in the first place, he would still have his counter, which means that you have to get a minimum of 4 priorities unless you rush him or take him out before his gauge gets filled. If you keep filling his gauge, he's gonna counter, he'd heal a bit, and you'd have to do that 3 times, but the 4th time would be your final opportunity because he wouldn't have any more counters. But it's definitely the better option, having something that's continuously going to activate on its own versus you having to be very careful because your defenses might not keep you together. So overall performance is going to G4. Longevity, I think we're taking Beast Gohan without a doubt. It's not really G4's fault that he got heavily countered. If G4 makes a return, these oppressive yellows are just going to come back too. So G4 is not really in a position where he'll come back. People did feel like he could come back, and I am one of those people, especially if an insane red dropped, but we did get an insane red, such as Ultra Perfect Cell. But at the end of the day, this is a 3v3 game, and you have to think about who's the apex predator in the position. And in most of the times, it's not going to be G4. So for longevity, Beast takes the cake. And I'm going to add one more category, which I don't usually include, but individual value is very important. Having oppressive nature is good, but your team can be a big factor for that. I would say G4 had the better team, but I also think he's the better oppressive unit on his own. Beast Gohan is very good, but in his prime isn't giving you better 3v1 potential than what G4 would have to offer simply off his counter. Ultimates, they probably go ban for ban. The special beam cannon is a very nice addition, but the defensive end and vanish recovery are big factors for how long you will last in a 3v1, especially without making any mistakes, which is why I would have to take Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta. Now, I didn't touch on this a lot at the start of the video, but I spoke about doing this video because we're coming up to the 7th anniversary, and then at the end of the year we'll have the festival. We don't know what they're going to bring out in this anniversary, if they're going to up the ante and drop more than one ultra. They haven't been doing that up until now, and they might not start now either. But what I will say is we've had 2 examples here, one that completely dominated the game, which is Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, and one that fit in the meta perfectly while still being one of the top dogs in the game, and you guys know who that is, Beast Gohan. I don't know which one I would prefer. I do like the idea of a unit completely blowing every other unit out of the water, but in the long run I don't feel like that's the safest option because we do get those toxic metas. I think it's more the excitement that comes around it versus the playing experience, and I can imagine if you don't have that new unit, playing the game is complete hell. A lot of us are expecting Ultra MUI Goku this anniversary, and if he does drop and he's the best thing we've ever seen in Dragon Ball Legends history, is that going to be a good thing or a bad thing? Do you want him to be that OP or do you not want him to be that OP? There's so many perspectives you could have on this, this, and we've seen the outcomes of multiple units that have completely destroyed the game. But then when they don't destroy the game, for example, Beast Gohan, people like to sweep them under the rug and underrate them and say they're not good enough. So I'm going to leave the conversation's conclusion in you guys' hands. Do you think we should get an overpowered unit, or do you think we should get a balanced one that fits in place with the rest of the meta? Let me know in the comment section below. That's going to be it, man. The potential for ultra characters are very high, and I love that they increase the bar every single time they drop one. If not increase the bar, they just do something new, specifically for the celebration ultras. If we get more than one ultra this celebration coming up in the 7th anniversary, I wonder if they'd both have the same mechanic, so similar to how we got the Fusing Gogeta Blue and Super Vegito in the 6th anniversary. I know they were Legends Limited, but they share the same mechanic. If they do that for ultras, would they have the same mechanic, or would they have two different ones? Regardless, I hope the anniversary is good. But hopefully you guys did enjoy this video. If you haven't already, make sure to press the subscribe button. We're on this grind to 200,000 subscribers. I appreciate you guys for watching the video, man. My name's Zakashi, guys, and I'll see you guys in the next one, man.